From the far reaches of space to the darkest places on Earth, join us as we explore the haunted, the cryptid, the creepy, and more. Exposing Reality Radio presents the Spectral Wolfpack Show, your paranormal nightmare, with your host, Alexander Bobolinsky.
What is up, Wolfpack? It is me, your host, Alex, and tonight we've got an awesome show. First, I just wanted to mention, I don't know if everyone's seen it yet, but when I was in the woods the other night, I caught some crazy stuff with I've been dubbing it the name Old Red Eyes, and it's just this pair of red eyes that I caught in the woods. I went back and did a size comparison, and whatever it is, it looks pretty big. And it's on the Bigfoot Bob channel. If you guys haven't followed that channel yet, that's my Bigfoot channel where I post all of that content. And then for any Alabama people, tomorrow night at 6:30 at the Homewood Library, which is also a haunted location, I'm going to be joining a few other people on a panel, and we're going to be doing some equipment demonstrations and answering questions and talking. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So our guest tonight, Shaun Dargis, was born in Corpus Christi, Texas, but has lived in several other states, such as Alexandria, Louisiana, when he was a teen, Houston, Texas, to play music for many years, Chattanooga, Tennessee, Orlando, Florida, and now he's currently back in Houston and is part of the paranormal team known as Just Paranormal. And Shaun has been investigating the paranormal for many years and has stories. We're going to talk about stories from his adventures. And he also has captured UFOs on video in Houston, which is all on his YouTube channel, Paranormal Shaun. And the link to that is in the description of this show. And I'm going to bring him right over. Shaun, what's up, man?
Hey, man, what's up?
Oh, not much. Just excited to dive into the mind of Paranormal Shaun.
Yeah, it's a scary place.
So, I know it's a question that a lot of people ask, but I always like to ask just to get it documented. But what kind of got you into the paranormal in general?
Well, actually, probably right around 2008 is when I first became a believer in spirits, ghosts or whatever you want to call them. I used to think all the ghost hunting shows were pretty dumb. I was pretty closed-minded towards it. I was atheist, and I thought when you die that you don't go anywhere. I thought you just disappear. But so anyway, around 2008, when my uncle died, it was a pretty traumatic time because we were the only two in my family that really relate because we were musicians. And so I took it pretty hard when he died. And at the time, right when it happened, my daughter, I was with my daughter's mom. We were still together. And she was pregnant with my daughter. And we had a really bad fight one night. Or I'll take it back the day before the fight. We played with a Ouija board for the first time. She used to always tell me that her grandma was a witch and she was into stuff like that, and that I would see things when I was with her. So one night we played with the Ouija board, and I didn't think much of it, and it never moved or anything like that. But the next day we had a really bad fight. It was just a really bad argument, and a couple hours, and we eventually made up. She was in the bedroom crying in the dark, and I was in the living room. I went in there. We made up. So I'm laying on the bed looking at the floor, and we're finally talking and joking and getting along again. And she goes, "There's something in the room with us." And as usual, I'm thinking, this chick's crazy. I don't believe in. She's full of crap. So she's like, "There's something in the room." And so I'm laying on the bed looking at the floor, and the floor is about, or when you're laying on the bed, it's about a foot above in front of my face. So she points to the floor really fast, and she says, "There it is." And I kid you not, it was 1 foot in front of my face. It was like this black mass, and it looked like a black smoky liquid. It was about the size of like a soccer ball.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've seen the tattoo on my wrist, but that's kind of what it looked like. That's why I got it tattooed on my wrist.
Nice.
So when I saw it, as soon as I saw it, I could tell that it knew that I saw it, so it jetted out of my view. Mm-hmm. And like I freaked out, jumped to the light switch, flipped that thing on, and after that, I was a believer. And it came back the next night because we were excited about it. So at first, I thought this thing was evil, maybe. I thought it was, because it was black and I never seen anything like that before, I thought maybe this thing was evil or whatever it wasn't good. I started reading about jinn and all that stuff. But then I put two and two together and I realized that maybe it could have been my uncle, because my uncle died a week before that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's the paranormal story that turned me into a believer.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. And
yeah.
And I'm sorry to hear about your uncle as well, but it's always been interesting to me about how when these things are around, sometimes it can cause like certain emotions or certain things like that going on where people are fighting or arguing, even close friends mm-hmm. and everything. And I wonder.
Yeah, we felt it was feeding off of our negative energy because we were fighting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, is that what you think?
And you know what's weird? The weird thing is like the week before, or the week right after my uncle died, I was playing his music throughout the apartment. He was like a blues musician, so I had that music just blaring through the apartment. So I might have just brought him in, and the fact that we messed with the Ouija board mm-hmm. was just like, yeah.
That would make sense. And so after that, that's when you became a believer, and then you're big into the ITC and the EVPs and everything. What kind of got you? Did you start like researching and started picking up some equipment, and that kind of happened next?
Well, right around the same time that all that stuff happened, it was around 2008. That's when Ghost Adventures and the TAPS, the Ghost Team TAPS, they were getting big, mm-hmm. and the Ghost shows, they were just getting big around that time. And although I felt they were stupid, but once I had my experience, because I'm a believer, I have to see it to believe it. I'm that type of person, and I definitely saw it. So, that's where so as for equipment, when I started seeing those shows, of course, I went and got the digital recorder. I started out with ones that weren't even, popular ones to use, but they worked pretty well. Mm-hmm. Olympus recorders. Of course, my first ghost box was the SB7. Mm-hmm. And if you go on my channel, like one of the very first videos is my very first ghost box catch, where I catch a baby cry on the SB7. And I was in the labor and delivery room at Yorktown Hospital.
Wow, that's amazing. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about some of the other captures you've gotten. I know you've gotten some amazing and relevant stuff on the spirit boxes.
I've caught light anomalies on camera at broad daylight at the cemetery, and they'll happen simultaneously as a response is coming through. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Even for somebody who isn't too into the paranormal to watch that, they might not even really understand it or catch it. But if you really watch some of these videos with an open mind and really pay attention to what the title and the description says, you'll actually see what I'm talking about in some of the stuff. But you have to have a sharp eye and good hearing, because it takes a trained ear to hear a lot of the stuff. You know what I'm talking about on that aspect.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, once people start getting into it and they get deeper involved, they definitely start getting that ear and really seeing how amazing it is.
Yeah, definitely. And the more you do it, the more you come in tune with it. Mm-hmm. And the more you communicate with these spirits, the more they'll talk to you.
Yeah, I agree with that, definitely.
Yeah, you get the people that are just into it, that don't give it a fair amount of time to look into it, and then they just automatically think it's fake. But I guarantee anybody, if they really want to do it and put like a good hard month into trying to catch that first EVP or that it'll happen for anybody.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I think that more people need to, if they're into it, and if they want to find out if it's real, they definitely need to do some experimenting, because you will find it goes very deep.
Yeah, because these spirits, if you don't believe in them, like, why would they want to talk to you in the first place? They're going to go to the next person who has more of an open mind that's willing to talk.
Yeah, I think that's a big important part too, is the mindset going into an investigation, and it can really affect the sessions, I think.
Oh yeah, and I definitely understand the mind of a skeptic, because I was that person. So
yeah, I
understand where people come from.
Yeah, so the first time that we got together officially, I mean, we've been friends for a couple of years, but we officially got to get together at Hales Bar Dam, and for 2 nights, and also we did some stuff in the hotel rooms, and that was just such an awesome experience meeting you and everything, and because we had always talked about doing sessions together.
I wish next time we get together though, me and you need to go do some solo stuff, because we didn't get a chance to really do that at Hales Bar, but we still caught a lot of amazing stuff.
Yeah, one of my favorites was one of the times that we got to do that session together, and I remember the ghost box, and we're in these tunnels where not a lot of signal comes through, and we were still getting responses, and it said Houston, which is where you guys are from.
Yeah, and the fact that we're like 12 hours away, like, what's the chances of it saying Houston?
Yeah,
so that's pretty cool.
I've still got to go through some of that footage, but I'm excited to get to it. So
yeah, that would be pretty cool.
What so then after, so you were doing this solo for a while. Was Just Paranormal the first team that you joined?
Kind of. Basically, okay. Like when I first got into it, I was like, all right, cool, I'm going to start a team, and I'll be the leader or whatever. And, I'm not even really the leader type. I'm the introvert, so I like to be kind of off to myself a little bit.
Yeah.
But, so I started this little thing, I called it Immortal Paranormal, and I had a couple people on the team, but they didn't really take it serious, and I became the only one having to go over all the recordings and video and everything. So it was like I was the only one that would buy gear and do stuff.
Yeah.
And then I had one girl on the team that she wanted to be on the team so bad. She told me she knew what she was talking about, and then I'm pretty sure she like scratched herself one night.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. So I just started doing it by myself. And then I met JP online a couple of years ago, and I joined Just Paranormal. And so I just do solo and with Just Paranormal ever since.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like.
Yeah, I love investigating with JP. Like he's an EVP magnet. He can catch EVPs like when other people can't.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I really liked when we were all together. Like we caught some amazing stuff, like that scream in the girls' bathroom. It was like, "Get out!"
Oh yeah.
Like.
Yeah, that was crazy, man.
Vocal tone and
that
everything. And I think
right.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, right when JP walks in a shower, out of all things that come through, a female voice saying, "Get out."
Yeah, seriously. And I loved, it was just so cool bringing us all together, all the different, personalities and energies and styles, and I think it really showed with the results that we got.
Oh, definitely, man. Like, I mean, you guys have become my best friends. Like when I talk to my friends on a daily basis, it's you guys. It's not even anybody really here in Houston other than JP.
Yeah, I'm the same way because I'm more introverted too, and I have some friends here, but they're not into this stuff, and this is like what I live for. So it's good that we've found each other and that we are able to use the social medias to talk to each other every day, and it also helps with our investigations and everything. We ask each other for tips, and show each other evidence.
And who knows? Like we'll do more collaborations together, and maybe we'll be a team one day. On a long-term basis, that would be cool.
Oh, definitely. And M City Angel in the chat said that best friends share their Whataburger. Shaun, would you share your Whataburger with us?
I will. I can't guarantee it will be good, but I will mail you a Whataburger.
That's great. What did when you guys came, what did you think about that funeral home we went to? That was pretty cool.
That place is awesome. Definitely when we come back, we have to go back. And especially, man, I want to just point out, like, that last session you did there, the last video you posted, that was insane. All that 7 stuff.
Yeah.
It was super clear.
And guys, I'm not sure if everyone has been following the 7 stuff, but Shaun has also been involved in getting 7 on his spirit box for years, and the deeper we go with the 7 stuff, it gets crazy. We won't go too far into it, but that is something
we're all getting 7.
Yeah.
We're all getting 7 on our stuff.
Yeah, seriously. I wanted to ask about it was a story you told me a while ago about that time you went. I'm trying to remember the location, but you went into the woods and found that house.
Oh yeah. It was crazy. I don't know what to think about it. I still don't, but I remember it vividly. I was probably about 14 or 15, and we were in Alexandria, Louisiana. I don't know if any of the listeners know where I'm talking about, but it's basically in the very center of Louisiana, and there's this area where it's got a bunch of sand dunes, so it looks like a desert in the middle of the woods. It's freaking crazy.
Yeah.
It's probably maybe 100 acres or 200 acres of just sand dunes, and sometimes trucks will come by, dump trucks, and or whatever kind of trucks, they'll fill them up with sand, and I guess the companies take the sand and use it for different things or whatever. Mm-hmm. But there's these 2 weird lakes, and you can look at them on Google Earth. They're completely different colors. One is crystal clear, and then one is like a greenish, aqua green color tint or whatever. And right next to it, we found these barrels of a bunch of toxic waste that they were dumping into the water. So it's definitely not smart to get into the water. But anyway, there was this house way off into the sand, and it didn't have a driveway or anything to it. So you basically had to walk to it to get to it. There was no road leading to it or a driveway. And it had all these kind of satanic symbols, sacred geometry stuff carved in the side of the building, and it had 2 totem poles in the front with devils on them and stuff. It wasn't your typical Indian totem poles. It was totem poles with demonic looking stuff on it.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell it was. Maybe it was a Masonic lodge or something in the middle of nowhere, or I don't know what the hell. But,
so weird.
Yeah, it was pretty creepy. We didn't hang around that place too long.
And was that before you got into the paranormal?
Oh yeah. That was many years.
Just
I was
exploring.
14 years old, but I was always into the death metal. I was always focused on the darker side of things.
Yeah, I've been definitely into similar stuff, and but when you see a place like that, it's definitely pretty chilling. You're like, what happened here? Sacrifices?
Well, see, close to that place where that house was, this was a separate incident, but it was close to the house.
Yeah.
But it was in the wooded area, and me and my friend, we used to go through the woods, and we would cut trails for miles with machetes. So we had cool trails where we could ride our bikes through them and stuff. And so one day we were not far from that area, and we saw this old guy hanging dogs from trees.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he was hanging hanging them. It was crazy. That scared us.
Yeah, that's insane. And I wonder if it did have some connection to that house, or
Yeah, we were wondering, we think that it might be that guy's house or something. Not really sure.
And that gives me chills just thinking about seeing that.
Dude, it was freaky, man. I'm not even gonna lie. It was like, we got the hell away from there. But we went out there, other times and didn't see anything. That was the only time. Like, we used to hang out in those woods. So
yeah,
I don't know what that guy was up to, other than hanging dogs.
Yeah, and it's cool that it happened in Louisiana, where there's lots of history of voodoo and vampires and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I met a lot of people when I lived there that were into voodoo.
Yeah. Yeah, I went to the Voodoo Museum there, and that place had an interesting vibe to it, and the lady told us about, she called something mojo, that was messing with a lot of kids or something like that.
That sounds pretty crazy.
And then I've heard about this secret vampire bar that you have to, like, go to this vampire museum and get, like, a secret code to go to this bar and get into this secret room or something.
Where is this supposed to be at? Like New Orleans or something?
Yeah, I think it's somewhere on Bourbon Street. I can't remember exactly the name of it, but we heard about it at CryptidCon, and I was like, that's pretty interesting.
I've been there a lot during Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. There's probably all kinds of places like that there.
Yeah. So aside from the paranormal, I know you're into the UFOs and extraterrestrials. What kind of got you into that?
Well, about 2002, I got a nice telescope for Christmas, and I'm just looking around. I'm looking at the Milky Way and different things, and I was living right around the Galleria area of Houston, so it's really populated in that area, and it's pretty surprising that I saw my first UFO right over the city. But I'm just looking at stars. Which one should I look at next? That's what I'm thinking. So I look at one, and because it looks pretty bright, so I figured I'm going to look at that one. And as soon as I look at it with my eyes, it moves to the right, like really fast.
Yeah.
Like it's perfectly still, then it moves to the right, like probably a couple thousand feet to the right in a split second. Then all of a sudden it takes a left and like disappears. It just flies away like warp speed, like some Star Trek stuff. So I was like, I knew exactly what I freaking saw.
Yeah.
I was like, I just saw my first UFO. Hell yeah. And yeah, it was pretty cool. And the weird thing is I've been seeing them ever since.
Yeah, you've caught a few on video that's on your channel too.
Yeah, I think I've maybe 4. I think I've caught a total of 4 on my channel. I think the ones that I caught in the daytime are probably some government drones, but they're really crazy looking. But yeah, I've been seeing UFOs ever since. In fact, last weekend I saw one that I could not, for the life of me, I couldn't get my camera to pick it up because it was really dark and these things were real faint. I didn't tell you guys about this. I told JP, but it was two orbs, and they were separate, but they were making a weird movement, like they were in unison with each other, almost like a figure 8, but it was 2 of them.
Yeah.
It was really weird, dude. And the best way I can describe it is, you know what a jellyfish looks?
Yeah.
Imagine a jellyfish without the tentacles in the dark with like a flashlight behind it. Like like if you're lighting up a jellyfish or whatever. That's what these things look like. They almost look they were light orbs, but they almost looked spiritual or metaphysical or something like that. Like they were transparent. Yeah. It was the weirdest thing. And I even have the footage. I can send it to you of me trying to get them on camera. You can hear me freaking out because I'm getting pissed because I can't get them on the screen. Dude, it was so weird. It was one of the coolest things I've seen.
That's wild. Yeah, I think you'll definitely be catching more too because you're always sky watching.
I watch the sky. For anybody listening, if you're into UFOs or anything, I think the best time to look is like right before the sun is going down. that for me, that's when I see the most activity in the sky. But if you go online and you look up hotspots, UFO hotspots, my part of Houston is definitely like a hotspot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but that's a good time to look because it's not too bright and it's not too dark.
Mm-hmm.
Just right.
Yeah, because I bet some of them get in the dark, probably get overlooked, or you probably can't even see them if they do have that kind of transparent or some kind of cloak or something. Yeah,
well, like if you think about, remember that one that I caught, the very first one I believe that I caught, it was getting dark. It was almost dark in remember how it was like a black orb?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, they cloak themselves, they turn themselves black or transparent. Like they could be over you right now and you wouldn't even know it.
Yeah.
And imagine nowadays you have everybody looking down at their cell phones.
Mm-hmm,
like
exactly.
I can't count how many times that I'm pretty sure that I've missed a couple when I was outside just because I was staring at my phone.
Yeah, I've definitely seen a few myself as well, and I wonder the same thing because if you look around, even people driving and everything, everyone's on their phone. Even at the gas pump
Yep.
now, they put little TVs that play stuff while you're pumping gas, and it's like they're trying to distract us or something.
I guarantee anybody who puts a couple hours a day into just paying attention to the sky, you'll see some stuff.
Oh, yeah. I agree with that. M City had mentioned, too, that I guess NASA is not far from Houston.
Yeah, I live real close to NASA. Actually, at my work, I'm a coder, so I code a lot of metal parts,
Mm-hmm.
and we actually get NASA parts. Like I don't know what the parts are, but sometimes we get stuff from NASA.
Wow, yeah, that's awesome. And another thing I was gonna say, is that in North Alabama, there's like a little NASA space station place, and that's actually a place where people see a lot of UFOs too, is in North Alabama. And I actually saw this green thing fly down really fast through the sky driving home from Mothman Fest, which was
it like in the region of that area?
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was feeling it too. I was like, I'm about to see something, and then I saw it, and I was like, well, should have had the camera.
And although I do believe most of what NASA tells us is a lie, I do believe that they work with they got something going on. Like they know, like they're working with some extraterrestrials or something.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff like that we just might never know the truth to. I don't know.
Yeah.
And if you look at, like, if you go onto those government websites and go to their declassified files and you search for the UFO stuff, there's stuff up there, but it's so old and it's like outdated, and you can tell they don't put the good stuff up there. Just anything.
And why do they have to? Like, how are you gonna lose all the information and the data for the moon landing?
Yeah,
like, how are you gonna
I don't understand that one either.
That's crazy.
And for anyone who hasn't seen that, if you search for the NASA moon landing, it's like they say the technology was destroyed, or it was lost or something, and it's like, what?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, we don't have the technology anymore to do that. It's like,
but we don't have the technology to do that anymore, but they're talking about going to Mars in like 10 or 15 years or something like that. Like, what do you get it together? They can't even get their story straight.
Yeah, I really don't understand. Like, it doesn't. When I saw that, I was like, this doesn't even make any sense. But
yeah, NASA, never a straight answer.
Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, UFOs and paranormal. Have you had any other experiences with anything that you couldn't explain?
No, I had, like, as for like stuff like what you're into with the cryptids and stuff, I haven't had anything like that. Although I haven't even really looked for it. I bet if I looked for it, because I was in Louisiana. So yeah, I heard Louisiana has some squatch areas where they could be.
Yeah, they got the Honey Island swamp monster, and And then also the Boggy Creek Monster is not too far from Louisiana, and definitely sightings. And I believe they have lizard man sightings as well in the swamps. And
Yeah. Dude, there is so many things in those swamps. Like, I don't know if you've ever been to Louisiana, but I grew up in Louisiana. We used to catch, like, little alligators and stuff just for fun.
yeah,
And there's places out there that you could go that, like, people probably haven't been to in forever.
yeah,
Crazy.
I bet.
There's just so many, like, little places where creepy animals or like, something could be living that you would never know about.
Yeah, that's one thing we're gonna have to do sometime is get together and get out in the woods and do some cryptid investigations, because I know you love getting out in the woods and then who
Dude,
knows?
if you ever come, if we ever end up in Louisiana together, we'll go try to find that house.
Yeah, that would be
with
awesome.
with the totem pole.
That'd be crazy. One thing I've heard recently about Texas Bigfoot, some people say that they run on all fours, which I thought was interesting.
Really? Well, I actually used to live in northeast Texas, like close to Lufkin, Texas, where there are, like, supposedly some sightings out there.
Yeah, and it's just crazy when you start getting into it. Like, one thing I've found, I go to that place not far from my house and have been having some wild experiences there. And then, to me, it's like you don't even have to go to these, like, you don't have to go to the Pacific Northwest, where the Patterson-Gimlin film. It's like it's right in your backyard almost. It's crazy.
Dude, yeah, I remember when we went out there, I wish that me and JP had, like, some long pants or something on, because that would have been cool to go in there.
Yeah,
but
I had flip-flops
whatever
on,
you
too.
caught, you caught something. Whatever that is that you caught was at least 5 feet, 5'10" or so. And, man, I don't know. You caught some kind of being on 2 feet, I believe.
Yeah, and I'm going to keep continuing to try to catch better as well, because, that area is kind of grown on me, and I'm getting used to the layout of the land and figuring some things out. But, so tell us a little bit about what's some of your favorite equipment that you use lately?
Favorite equipment? Probably my 587, the Ghost Box, the Shack Hat. Everybody seems to really want that one right now, because it really does have some of the best, clearest replies.
Yeah, I love mine.
Yeah, it's a good box. I like that it has a loud enough speaker on it to use. I don't think anybody should spend $300 on one, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then for my recorders, I like to use the Sony ST25. The same one you got, same one Eric uses. And then the Olympus 4100 PC, that's a really good one. I've actually seen Aaron on Ghost Adventures use that one, I believe.
Yeah.
And it catches some really clear, loud replies where you don't need headphones. That's real important to me. I hate having to use headphones to listen for EVPs.
Yeah, because, I mean, we need real-time response. We need, like, instant. Like, it just would take, you got to put the headphones on and hook them in. Yeah,
for people listening or watching on YouTube and trying to see it, and you're trying to convince somebody that what you're catching is real, it definitely helps to be able to play it in real time and be easily heard.
Yeah, for sure, because not everyone does have nice headphones, and so if you can hear it clearly, it's definitely a plus.
Yeah. I'll tell you, like, probably 90% of the time, if it's even if it's a good EVP, I still trash it, because if it can't be heard well, like if you have to struggle to hear it, I'll delete it. I'll even show it.
Yeah, I understand.
I'm too lazy to run it through Audacity and all that stuff.
Just got to get that fire evidence.
Yeah, if it's not Class A or B, just trash it.
And I've been hearing a lot of good things about that Olympus, and it's actually pretty cheap too. It's a good one to find.
Yeah, it's Olympus 4100 PC and Olympus 3100 PC. The 3100 is the one that me and JP actually use, and honestly, like I've gotten more clear EVPs from that one than I have the Sony.
Yeah.
But the Sony's a little louder. Yeah, the Sony's a little louder, though. So they're both great recorders just, for what they do.
Yeah. That's awesome. What about your top 5 locations you've been?
Top 5 locations. Well, I'm definitely going to start off with Hales Bar Dam, because not only was it a awesome place, but I got to meet you guys. So it was like a big, awesome collaboration of friends that I've been friends with for years, and then finally got to meet in person. So yeah, Hales Bar Dam, and then I would say Lavaca Jail, the one that I've been pretty much going to every weekend. That place, I love that it's super clean, and you can just hang out in it all day, and you won't feel all nasty like you will in a lot of other places.
That is great.
Yeah, and you catch great stuff in that place. I mean, it's an old jail, and then Yoakum Hospital. I'm sure you remember our videos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we've had objects thrown at us. We did that collaboration with Paraholics, and we just had some amazing stuff that night. That was probably the most active night I've ever had. And if you go on the Just Paranormal page, you can find that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an awesome location, definitely.
Yeah, I would love for you and Eric and Joe and Keith to be able to come to that place, maybe at least once before it gets too bad. Because on the 3rd floor, there's literally piles of mold that's like over a foot high.
Oh my God.
Mold. Yeah, it's insane.
Wow. And then, let's see, that's 3.
You said top 5. Not Yoakum. That's the one I just said. I'm talking about Yorktown. That's another town over. That was on Ghost Adventures.
Yeah.
And, man, that place is super active. I remember I had my skeptic friend, Waylon. He was in there, and he didn't believe in any of it, but we had some crazy stuff. There's a spirit of a little girl named Stacy.
Yeah.
Supposedly wanders the hospital. So we're in the nursery area, or not nursery, but like library area where kids can play games and read books and stuff like that. So we were reading to her one of her supposed favorite books. It was The Cat in the Hat. And and right next to the library is the main nun who ran the hospital. It was like a Catholic hospital.
Yeah.
So the main nun, and she was supposedly really strict. So anyway, we're reading the book. We're reading the book to Stacy, my friend Waylon is, and I have the recorder going, and you hear somebody go, shh, like somebody shushes us. And this was disembodied. This wasn't just EVP. It was loud, disembodied shush. And we're like, did you hear that? We just got shushed.
Wow.
And so, all right, and then Waylon keeps reading the book, and then it happens again. Shh. And I have it on recording, actually. It's on my old SoundCloud account. I don't even know if I can get to it, but it's there.
Yeah.
That was a pretty cool one. And then I heard my first disembodied voice in that building, where I do believe it was the girl Stacy. I don't know if you saw the Ghost Adventures episode where they were there, but they signed their names on the wall on the 2nd floor. So we're sitting in the hallway right next to their signatures on the wall. And I heard a little girl's voice go, hey, like right in my ear. And that freaked me out. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, disembodied voices are always off the chain.
those are my favorite.
Yeah, and then I've heard a lot about that nun. Like
the nun, she'll scratch you. She doesn't like tattoos. She'll scratch guys.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what would you say your last location?
So in the last location,
it's always the hardest
the
one.
antique. Oh wait, no, I almost forgot. Hill House Manor.
Oh yeah.
That place was insane. Hill House Manor is it's not only, it's the oldest house in the town, but it's 5 different houses put together into one. It's so crazy. And it used to be an old brothel. it had a room where brothel type activity went on, and then it had another room where they had like gambling and stuff like that. So they had guys like gambling and shooting each other and stuff over gambling bets and stuff. And then on the bottom floor, it has a well, and that well really does bring a lot of activity. It's a like limestone well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So as soon as we walked into that place, there was a pair of dowsing rods on the table, and I've never picked up dowsing rods in my life. But as soon as we walked into there, I was joking, and I picked the dowsing rods up, and I was kind of making fun. I was like, where should I go? And both dowsing rods pointed right to the well. It was crazy. Like, Roman saw it, but unfortunately it wasn't on camera, but it was crazy.
Wow.
The first EVP I caught in that place was my name.
Mm-hmm.
It was just super active. Me and John were sleeping in there at night. It was just me and him. I'm on one couch, he's on the other. And I hear 3, like, knocks on the wooden table right next to my head while I'm trying to sleep. And it was just me and him in there. That freaked me out. So I left him in there alone. And then I went and slept in the van with JP and them. And then John gets woke up by a woman screaming and running down the stairs, like a sound of somebody running down the stairs and screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, that place is insane. You would like that.
Yeah, that's just awesome. It's on the list. All those places are on the list.
Yeah, and all these places, for the listeners that are listening, all these places, they're on our videos. If you go, you might have to scroll down a while, but those are all in the Just Paranormal videos. I don't think the Hill House Manor one is posted yet, though.
Nice.
We don't have that one. That was for JP's Paranormal Isolation.
Yeah.
So I don't think that one won't be up for a while.
I think he showed me a little sneak peek of that one, and that place does look awesome.
Dude, it was for me. Like, some of the other people that I've talked to that have been there said that they didn't have a lot of activity, but for me personally, that was a great place.
Do tell us a little bit about the antique store you were going to mention too.
Honestly, it was kind of active. I think that it needs to be investigated more.
Mm-hmm.
So we went there, and you saw the doll room or whatever. The doll room was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So definitely those dolls all have not all of them, but I'm sure a lot of them have attachments. And it's just an antique store, so they got attachments to stuff. And they had a lot of mirrors. And we caught a lot of EVPs in there that actually didn't make it onto the episode. They were just on my recorders because I left a lot of recorders out. And I caught EVPs of little kids, like, laughing at us.
Wow.
And just, yeah. But the thing with that place was when we investigated it, the owners, they were, like, hanging out with us while we were doing it. So naturally, it's just like, it's a really small building, so it had too many people in it to really try to catch really good activity. I think if we were to go back and just have like 2 people in there investigating, we could probably catch a lot more stuff.
Yeah, because it's probably one of those places that hasn't been investigated a lot, but I definitely think there's something to all those different objects from people in this one location. It's definitely an interesting.
Yeah, we're actually the only team to ever investigate that place.
Wow.
And man, I'm telling you, like, you know how you go to a lot of antique shops and they have a lot of stuff, but this place has like a ton of stuff. There's like on their tables, there's not more than an inch apart from other stuff. There's thousands of little trinkets and knickknacks that people could be attached to. So that's why I bought that doll. Remember, I bought that weird, creepy doll?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would have done
I bought the creepiest. I got the creepiest one in the building.
That's usually what I do, too. I'll go, or if I ever go to antique stores or thrift stores, I'm like, where's the creepiest doll? There it is. All right.
Yep. You got to get that one.
Yeah. Tell us.
I believe whatever you're attached to, like whatever if you're drawn to something or you see something that you feel drawn to, that's the item you should buy.
I agree. I like the one I got the other day. It's like a 1985 real baby doll. And when I saw it, I was like, I got to ask about this. And I thought it was going to be like expensive. She was like, it's $1.99. I was like, I'm in. I'm sold.
Sold.
I was like, I wanted it, and it's a decent price. I'll take it. And I remember you sharing the Blue Light Cemetery video with me. Tell us a little bit about that location.
Okay. Well, you can go on my channel and you can find the video too. It's called the Blue Light Cemetery. I can't remember. I think the family that owned it, their last name is like Hillendahl or something like that, and they own that region of town or something. And so anyway, the whole cemetery has nothing but people from that family buried there, and it's off Patterson Road in Houston. Like if you search haunted places in Houston, you'll find Blue Light Cemetery off Patterson Road. So supposedly the road is haunted, where people have like handprints on their car. I don't know if I believe all that. I haven't even really looked into that one actually. But the Patterson Road runs right next to the woods. It's called Bear Creek Swamp. And on the other side of the swamp is the cemetery. It's kind of like hidden in the woods. So the way I usually go is I'll park on the side of the road and walk through the woods, but you can't go if it's been raining because it'll be flooded. So you got to go when it's dry. And you can find the video on my YouTube of me getting pissed off because I get lost trying to find the cemetery. My GPS had me going in circles.
I hate that.
Yeah, but the blue light is, people say that at night that people seen a blue light floating above the graves. And, yeah, people tried to explain it away to say it's either paranormal or it's swamp gas, maybe. I don't know if you've heard the swamp gas theory.
I have, and, you know, I'm not sure what I think about that, because I've definitely seen some unusual lights and things that I felt like wasn't this, because the swamp gas is generally a pretty fast, like, isn't it a pretty fast, like it'll kind of shoot up or shoot out, but
I've never seen swamp gas illuminated before, so I honestly wouldn't know.
Yeah, it's definitely something I want to look more into, because at these swamps there always is these strange sightings of lights, and I find it interesting too that there's a Bear Creek swamp there, and then there's the one I go to here. I
know. I thought the same thing when I went out there when I was going through the woods, because I remembered your old video when you caught those phantom lights. And that was out like the Bear Creek area.
Exactly. And another thing I found out about that is that the road there used to be a railroad tracks, and so that kind of goes into, there's a lot of these phantom lights sighted around these old railroad tracks and everything, and so it just keeps going deeper and deeper as always.
I wonder what it is. Like maybe old lights from a train track where lights used to be, or something like that.
Yeah, like some kind of ripple in time, or some kind of residual energy going on there.
Especially the ones that show up on a nightly basis. Like how you said you can, you didn't say this, but I believe you could probably go catch those phantom lights again if you win.
Yeah, one thing I want to do.
That's probably residual.
Yeah, I'm going to try it. The next thing I'm going to do at Bear Creek Swamp is hopefully I'm going to get Brittany or someone to drive me, and I'm going to get them to drop me off at one end and drive to the other end, and then I'm going to walk the whole old train road and see what happens.
That'd be cool.
So
never know.
Been kind of a. I'm gonna wait till the bugs die, because there are a lot of mosquitoes in the swamps.
Yeah, definitely, man. I can imagine.
So one thing I wanted to mention too is that on some of your 587 sessions where you get a lot of the on command responses like wizard and zombie. Asking the spirits to say certain words, and that's awesome, because those are definitely more rare responses, so to be able to capture that.
I like to get them to repeat words for me as much as I can, but it doesn't always happen as much as I'd like.
Yeah, I wonder, it's just so, I'm so intrigued by it, because, I'm always trying to get them to do that. and sometimes it happens right away. Sometimes it happens in a few seconds, and like you said, sometimes it won't happen. And
hey, so, you know what I've noticed is sometimes they'll say it before you even ask your question, so it's like they can know what you're thinking.
Definitely, and I've heard, even just answering questions like before, like you'll be asking a question, and the answer might even come before or during when you haven't even finished asking the question, and
it's almost like they communicate telepathically.
Yeah, and it goes so deep. It's just crazy. I thought it was interesting the other day when we were doing our session on the YouTube, on the Hangouts, when it said your name several times. I remember.
It said all of our names.
Yeah, it's just so interesting. There's some kind of connection going on even through the internet. We can. I've found that through these live streams and stuff, it's definitely possible to still make the connection, and it's just one guy commented.
It's like we're communicating. It's like we're communicating with the same thing.
Yeah, it is, and it's really mind-boggling. But one guy commented and said, "We really do live in the age of audio necromancy," and I was like, "That's a good way to put it."
Right?
We are doing
what do you do? What are you into? Audio necromancy?
Yeah, I mean, we're doing some crazy experiments and things, and we're getting interesting results. And I think if anyone takes the time to sit down and watch these videos that we're making in these sessions we do, I mean, you're going to start questioning some things.
Yeah, man. I mean, to the untrained eyes and ears, of course it's going to sound like a bunch of gibberish and a bunch of nonsense. But if you open your mind and actually really listen and pay attention to what we are posting, we're catching real stuff that's saying things to us through these radios. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's easy to tell if you just really look at it and pay attention with an open mind.
Yep, it's true. And I wanted to bring up.
I'm to the point where I don't even try to sway. Like, I don't do this to turn people into believers. I just do it because it's amazing.
Yeah, and that's one thing I like about you. I mean, you can just tell that you have such a huge passion for it. And I mean, I remember after we investigated, we stayed up in the hotel. You know, we did the Ouija board session, but also we stayed up and you were playing all these awesome responses and EVPs, and it's just, you can tell that
it's just a passion, man.
Yeah, and that's one thing that's cool about when we all got together too. We're all so passionate about this that we finally had people around us, like-minded people, and it's a beautiful thing.
Dude, yeah, I mean, I wish that we could be a team and investigate all the time together, because I just know we could catch just amazing stuff. I mean, just the vibe that we put out all together and the energy, it could be amazing.
Yeah, I agree, and I think one day that we will be able to do that, and you know, I wouldn't want to do it with anyone else besides you guys. So, like,
definitely, man. And Eric, I love Eric, man. He's so entertaining.
Yeah, Eric's a trip, and his energy definitely brings such an interesting component to an investigation, because so many teams out there don't have that guy, the lit guy, the hype guy, who really brings brings energy waves himself, which,
dude, he's like a freaking walking EM pump.
Yeah,
just walking around.
And the spirits will say it too. They'll be like, there was one day at Benton Farmhouse when he went downstairs and they were like, "We miss Eric," and I was like, "You know Eric?" And he was like, "Yep," and I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like,
dude, they're probably using his energy like crazy.
Yeah, and he just like you said, he's like a pump. He's just pumping it out. And whereas someone like me, I might get drained very fast. It seems like he has a larger battery going then.
Yeah, dude, they use my energy, because I'm telling you, like by about 4 o'clock in the morning, usually, man, that shit. Sorry about the cussing. About 4 o'clock in the morning, that hits me, man. Like, I will just in the paracoma.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm the same way. And even after some intense sessions and things, it'll leave me drained. And I've been working on figuring out, there's also the thing the Native Americans talk about, the ghost sickness, which is when you're around spirits or involved in the spirit communication, that there's this, you feel that drain and that kind of depression and sick feelings.
That actually brings something to mind. So because I'm so heavily into the ghost boxes and stuff, I've really researched who started doing it and who all the great ghost box builders are. Like I could name you the 5 best ghost box builders right now off the top of my hand. But I don't want to do that and ruffle any feathers or anything. But there's a thing that happens with people that are heavily involved in the paranormal, especially the people that build the equipment that we use.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the greats that have made these ghost boxes, like we'll start with Frank Sumption. He died of a heart attack.
Yeah.
You go to Joe, I can't remember his last name, but Joe died, I believe, of a heart attack. And he was the guy that worked on the Joe's box with Steve Holte. Well, Steve Holte is in the hospital right now for heart problems. Yeah, I believe he's out right now, but he almost died. And there's definitely a health issue that happens with people that are into ITC research. A lot of people that are heavily into it and die and get ill of these weird sicknesses. And I don't think it's just natural. I think there's something going on.
Well, yeah, because some of these guys are pretty young and and they're in decent shape too. Like Steve. Steve is a skinny guy. He's not like, he eats healthy and everything from what I've seen. I've seen him post some food pictures and stuff.
Yeah, he doesn't eat like a slob or anything. Like he's eating decent food, and he looked like a pretty healthy guy. Like I understand people have heart issues, but I definitely believe it because I know that from my own personal ghost box use, when I used to do it on a daily basis, like right when I first met you on YouTube, I was doing it every day, and it was draining. Like it's really draining on the body.
It is, and that's one thing not a lot of people know about, or people who don't do this stuff. But once you start doing it, you will see how draining it can be. And it's there was one session I did a couple weeks ago that got real intense, and I remember right afterward, I literally laid on the floor and went to sleep. I was like so drained from it.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that because we were asking if you were gonna live stream, and you were like, nah. Yeah, I remember you talking about that.
Yeah, and that's one thing I've been trying to work toward figuring out answers to, how to either protect yourself from that. And one of my friends had told me about the black tourmaline stone, Chris Baird, Center Stars channel, and he said, at first he thought, it's just a rock, but I swear, there was those couple days I was feeling super drained. I went to the local shop and picked up a black tourmaline, raw, attached onto a pendant, and I've been wearing it ever since. And I gotta say, I've noticed a huge difference.
That's pretty cool.
So I definitely recommend that. And I'm working on figuring out how to combat that ghost sickness and how to not be as strongly affected by it, because we don't need these health issues, like you said. We don't need to lose these builders.
I've never protected myself. Like I've never done anything to really protect myself.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't, and there's a lot of times where I haven't too, and started to try to take it more seriously once I do start noticing health issues or the drainage and or being drained. And yeah, it's definitely interesting stuff to think about and consider. I guess there's, when you go to the hospital or something, you can't tell them that. Is that
right? Yeah, I'm a ghost hunter, and they're just gonna think you're crazy.
Yeah. Oh, and I see Jen in the chat mentioning moldavite, which is a stone that Eric wears, and it actually comes from space as well. And it's a little bit more expensive, but it's definitely something I want to experiment with more. Because
I've heard of that. I remember him saying he wore that.
Yeah,
I've never even heard of that one.
People say when you touch it, you can feel it, and so definitely some interesting stuff.
We have a magic store here called the Magic Cauldron, and I bought a crystal there for protection, and it's a citrine. I don't know if you've ever heard of that one, but I have one of those that I keep with me. I don't really know if I can feel a difference.
What color
but
is
I
that
still
one?
keep it. It's like a yellowish color.
Okay, yeah, I know exactly the
Yeah.
Nice.
I feel compelled to keep it on me during investigations, so maybe it does help.
Yeah, and you may not think that you have done anything to protect yourself, but that alone might have definitely caused something.
It'll be there.
Yeah. There's a lot. I've got a few books on the different gems and the properties people believe they have, and it's pretty interesting, definitely. And I like going to those shops and looking around.
Yeah, there's one called a Super 7 skeletal amethyst.
Nice.
And it's supposedly, I have one. It's supposedly the strongest crystal, and it has the elements of all the 7 major crystals all in one.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I read about it, so I thought it was pretty cool. And it's crazy looking. It has it's purple, like amethyst, but it has these little red hairs in it.
Wow.
Crazy. Yeah, it's pretty cool looking.
I'd love to see that. Well, anyway, before we wrap this up, as I've said before, guys, I've got the link to his YouTube in the description, but go ahead and tell everyone how they can find your work.
If you go on YouTube, you just type Paranormal Shaun, and you have to spell my name Shaun. Just type Paranormal Shaun, and you'll see a little picture of the moon, and that'll be my YouTube channel. And then if you really want to see like my most important project, which is Just Paranormal with JP, and I'm sure most of the people in the chat have probably already been there. But search Just Paranormal, and that's my main thing.
And real quick, one more time, we had a question about what was that crystal called? The amethyst, the special amethyst.
Oh, the Super 7 skeletal amethyst.
Nice. The Super 7.
Dude, it's super. Yeah, it's really cool.
That's interesting. I like that. Well, anyway, man, thanks so much for coming on, and it's been awesome listening to the stories and everything.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Awesome, man. Well,
definitely.
We will,
and I want to say hello and goodbye to all the people who listen.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, man, and I know we will be talking in the group chat.
Right. Probably 20 minutes from now. Everybody, y'all stay lit. Stay lit.
All right. Thanks, man.
All right, man.
All right.
Take it easy.
Night. And guys, that was Paranormal Shaun of Just Paranormal. And definitely check out his work. He has some really amazing spirit box videos on his channel, such as the direct responses, and then as well as some UFO footage that he's been compiling over Houston, Texas, near a hotspot. So you definitely want to check that out. And as he said, Paranormal Shaun, Shaun, and I put his link in the description. Definitely give him a subscribe and check out his videos. He's definitely in my circle of close friends, and yeah, I definitely recommend that to you guys. So, Old Red Eyes, I'm going to be further investigating that, despite Brittany telling me I can never go back there because it freaked her out what she saw. That's going to be definitely something that I'm working actively on. As I said at the beginning, anyone from Alabama, tomorrow night at the Homewood Library, which is a haunted location. It used to be this, I believe it was a farmhouse. It's got a whole history. It's an interesting library, but I'm going to be there doing a presentation with some other investigators local to Alabama. And I've got a little surprise coming for you guys as well that I can't talk about. So I'm sorry for that. But next week's guest is, I'm not sure I'm saying his last name right. Hopefully I am. Matthew Feel from Gateway Paranormal. And then the following week on the 17th, we've got a very interesting guest. We're going to be talking about dreams, and I will probably slaughter his name as well, but I believe it's Tarak Uday, and he's just awesome. He's, he does a lot of these videos about these dreams, and I think that's going to be a really awesome show. So definitely you will want to tune into that one, and as well as next week with Matthew from Gateway. And also, I hope you guys enjoyed this show. I really enjoyed it. As always, we have awesome guests every week, and we just learn so much cool stuff from each guest. They each bring different theories and stories and opinions, and it's just great. I really love doing it. And I look forward to many more shows. I've got some awesome guests I'm still working on lining up, and I hope you guys enjoyed as always. So, stay tuned. I'm going to try to get some live streams in as soon as possible. I'm working on currently painting the house and doing some things like that. But things will come. Live streams, videos. We just have a lot of house here to work with, and we're still trying to get it all how we want it. And but yeah, be on the lookout, because I love doing some gateway sessions with the Wolfpack. And yeah, I think that's about it, guys. I think I covered just about everything. Later in October, I've got a cool investigation coming up, a private one. That I will be filming and uploading. I'm not sure if I'll be able to live stream there, but you guys get the picture. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next live stream, video, podcast. Ooh, before I forget, because I don't want to, let me just tell you guys about this real quick, is that I have a collaboration with Chris Baird coming out on both my channels. One will be on the Spectral Wolfpack, and one will be on the Bigfoot Bob. And it's some really cool interviews of some experiences he's had involving the Thunderbird and Bigfoot. So be on the lookout for that. It should be up any day now. Maybe even tonight. Maybe tomorrow. I don't know. I don't know yet. I haven't decided. All right. I will see you guys next time. Thanks for coming. Thanks for listening. It was awesome. And stay tuned for the next. Ow!